Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Dom. I'm back with another college football video here. I want to take this time to thank you all for liking and subscribing, and please continue to do so we can continue to grow the channel and continue to put out some great content for everybody here, as college football 26 is fast approaching. We are under 2 months away. Very excited for the game. Let's talk about some of my favorite defenses I like the baseline out of, as well as some nuances of what you need to baseline out of and what you don't need to baseline out of. So for starters, let's go ahead and talk about my favorite defense right from the jump, which is 3-4 odd. The reason why I like 3-4 odd is because you have the ability to send a lot of pressure, to send loops out of it, and the ability to play coverage, right? But the issue is that it doesn't align properly versus certain sets. For example, let's talk about trips tight end. So I'm going to go ahead and just come out in Tampa 2. It doesn't really matter the defense, right? And then we'll just pick whatever play I want to. So as you can see, boom, look at how our defense is aligned right here. This is really not optimal in my opinion, unless you have something crazy, coverage wise. But me personally, I like my defense fully base aligned. If you're unaware of how to baseline in this game, please go watch my baseline video. It goes over what adjustments you need to do to best optimize it. So boom. The reason why I like 3-4 is because with a simple flip here, as you can see, our defense is fully baseline. That's exactly what I want to do. So like, even if they were to call something like a PA slot corner, we can make a couple of adjustments. You know what I'm saying? I got 2 controllers. You can hide the ball. And as you can see, coverage is pretty decent right here, right? And that's what they baseline the defense, a baseline 3-4. So that's one of the things I really like out of it. Also, it's not just trips. It can be something kind of weird as well. So let's say they come out in something like an empty bunch quads, right? Empty bunch quads. I got my shell on cover 2. I either like cover 2 or cover 4 for my shells. I can come out in any zone like cover 6. If you look at it, right, our defense is almost aligned perfectly, but I don't really love it. So I could very easily just boom, flip the play, and all of a sudden the defense is fully aligned the way I want it to be, to add that symmetrical look. So I can make the adjustments as I want to. If I want to stop a screen, if I want to stop a QB blast, however I want to do it. Now I have this defense fully aligned, and they don't really know what side the pressure is going to come from, right? So it doesn't really matter what play out of 3-4, but I kind of base it on what I want to send. So my base players are either Tampa 2, pinch buck 0, cover 4 quarters, or crossfire 3. The reason why I really like it is because, for example, let's say I want to bring like a loop out of like cover 4 quarters, right? I'll call the play, and let me just go to something like trips tight end. Cool. Works delay. Let's say I want to bring the loop out of cover 4 quarters. Well, look at how our defense is. It's completely non-base aligned. But if I flip the play, now we're back to how we want to be. And I can just very simply, if I wanted to, I can just move this linebacker over if I wanted to. It's a little temperamental. There we go. I can move this linebacker over if I wanted to. And then boom, now I'm bringing the crossfire, and I make whatever adjustments I want. And I'll just play on the D tackle here. And then boom, hiking the ball, and the crossfire comes in, right? So like, that's what's really good about being able to baseline in this defense, because you can send whatever you want. Because I can do the same thing out of cover 4 quarters, right? I can do the exact same thing. I can pinch my linebackers if I want to. And now, let's say I want to just send everybody. I could send everybody if I really want to. I could just do something like this with a middle third if I want. I could do something very much like this. I'll just play on a D tackle again, and then let's say they send everybody out. If I don't make the read quick enough, boom, it's a sack. You know what I mean? And we can do that all out of the same look. That's why I really like it out of 3-4. Now, don't get me wrong. If you do send the loop, you're kind of giving away that it is going to be a loop when you kind of make that adjustment. But the way loops are in this game, they're just so good, and they get in so well that if your opponent doesn't know how to block them, they can still get in. So even if they were to quick snap verticals like this, you know what I mean? Boom, we're already in, and there's still really good coverage down the field. So that's one of the reasons why I love baselining out of 3-4, especially versus trip sets. It allows us to get a little more versatile without having to compromise the defense, because our defense is not aligned properly. So dollar is an interesting case because to the naked eye, it looks like dollar is already baseline, but truthfully it isn't. And there's going to be reasons why you do want to baseline in this game out of dollar based on whichever you come out in. So for example, let's say your opponent is in some form of trips, right? And let's say you want to come out in something like 2-man under to kind of help deal with takeoffs. Well, let me find 2-man under. Cool. If you come out 2-man under, look at how the defense is aligned. It's aligned this way. So the reason why you might want to base a line out of dollar versus trips is to get that proper alignment, so that way it's symmetrical on both sides. Because right now there's no threat of a slot corner blitzing off of the side of the running back. So if you simply like just flip the defense, boom, now you get the slot corner lined up on the side. So you can do something very simple as like we can try to like set up our loop, right? We can try to set up a loop this way, and normally someone would user this middle linebacker, but we can keep them around this spot right here, and then maybe we can just use the slot corner instead, right? We can use the slot corner, bring them into the inside, and then we can make our coverage adjustments from there. We can keep ourselves manned up on the tight end if we want to, and then from there we can just hide the ball, right? Now we get a loop coming in. We still have that threat of there being a slot corner coming off either side, right? So you can do something like this where we baseline out of trips, and when we bring the slot corner down, last time we used them, this time you can actually put them on a blitz. You can put them on a blitz instead, mimic the same pressure, but now we're using this middle linebacker instead. We can put a zone right here, and then boom, well, hold on, let me play on a D tackle first, and then boom, we'll hide the ball, right? Slot corner coming off one side, which helps guarantee that loop to come in. Another reason why basic lining out of dollar is good is because it'll change how your slot corners will align even when you're not playing man-to-man. So for example, right, let's just call verticals delay once again, and let's call a defense like cover 4 quarters, right? So if you look at cover 4 quarters, look at where our corners are lined up at. Our corner on the right is lined up about 5 yards way off the line of scrimmage. It's not aligned where we want them to be, right? So if we just flip the play, now our corners kind of balance each other out the way we want them to. And now we can start doing stuff like we can start setting up our loop right here if you want to move this guy here. If you want to manually move a slot corner down, you can. You do something just like that, and now we're set up, and we're still in a quarters look, which will help with the coverage, right? So even when I snap this ball, if you look around, it's really not too much open, and that linebacker comes through, and it's a sack still. So that helps versus, you know, versus trips or really just any type of formation that you're going against when you're in dollar. And cover 4 quarters really is like the defensive choice, especially like in Madden when people are bringing their loops. Also, another thing to keep in mind is that these slot corners, when you base align, are going to do different things based on what you come out in. So for example, once again, we'll come out in trips tight end, and now we're going to call something like DB fire. So when you look at DB fire, look at how our corners look now. So our slot corner on the right is where we kind of want him to be. Our slot corner on the left is too far out, in my opinion, right? But look at our boundary corner. Our boundary corner is way to the inside, which I don't love. So watch, let's flip the play, and now he moves. He moves to the outside where you want him to be, and that slot corner moves down where we want him to be, which is very, very helpful. So now if you want to bring a DB fire, we can bring it. So even if I press, we can bring a DB fire here. The defense is fully aligned. If I want to man up, I can do something simple as move this linebacker over and move him over to make it feel like it's going to be the loop, and it's really not. I can just use it as middle linebacker if I want to. I can man up the middle linebacker in the slot if I want. I can man up that middle linebacker in the slot if I want. I can man myself up on a tight end if I want to switch stick off. If I want to put a yellow right here, I can put a yellow right there. You can get very creative with your defense. Or if I just want to keep them blitzing and just send the 5, we can. And then now, if I hide the ball, now we got heat coming off the edges where, you know, a lot of people are conditioned to see dollar and they think loop, but we made it look like the loop, but it's actually pressure coming off the edges because we were able to base align properly. So that's another thing why base aligning in this game is really crucial, because it helps with the blitzing angles and it helps with pressure coming not just off the edge, but through the loop as well. So far, we've talked about a couple of defenses that I like to base a line out of, especially in the 3-2-6 playbook, even though you can find these defenses in different playbooks. But I want to talk about a defense that I actually don't like the baseline out of because it's already aligned properly when you have the right coaching adjustments on. And that is the nickel 3-3 men. So there's 3-3 men and there's 3-3-5 men, and there are differences between the two defenses and how they align. I can save that for another video if we have interest on it, but let's talk about it. So in 3-3 men, as you know, the defense you see a lot of online is LB cross 3 show 2, right? The key to this defense aligning properly is actually flipping it. So if you come out in this defense flipped, and then I come out in something like trips tight end, you notice here everything is aligned properly. The only flaw would be like your slot corner and your outside corner aren't aligned great based on where they're at. So you'd probably have to move this guy down and then move him out. But that's mainly versus trips. You wouldn't have that problem versus 2x2 or anything like that, right? So we don't have to really do anything special here. The defense is already aligned properly. So all we need to do is just figure out where we want to bring our loop from, right? So if you want to play on this linebacker here, we don't have to move the linebacker over or anything like that. The defense is pretty much already set, so you can just man yourself up on somebody, play on a yellow, whatever you want to do, right? And then I'll just hide the ball, and as you can see, loop comes in perfectly, right? Also, I'd advise to make sure you play the zone drops on, so that way your defense isn't matching randomly, right? Now let's talk about how this defense is really good based on the alignment. Remember, by coming out and it flipped, the defense aligns properly. So now let's talk about something like a cover 4 quarters. So you come out and cover 4 quarters, and some people like to play quarters because, let's say they're playing somebody that's quick snapping a lot. You come out in quarters because match is already on, and if they're not setting up a beater and they're just quick snapping verticals, a lot of times your defenders are in the proper spot, right? So you can do something very simple as spreading your line, moving this linebacker over to the left, and then you can just use this guy, right? And then for the sake of the defense, I'm just going to play on let you tackle. And then boom, they quick snap verticals. And if you look down the field, everything's covered pretty well, right? And we're still breaking that loop in for the sack, right? But the cool thing about this defense, right, is that we can come out in something like cover 4 palms. And when we come out in the defense flipped, you notice we brought the loop the first time. But this time, when we move this middle linebacker over this way, now this is more of an edge blitz style of defense, right? So now, for the sake of the video, I'll put myself on the D tackle again when I hike the ball. Now this defense can sometimes come off the edge. Now that time, as we end up getting a turnover, that time the DN kind of looped, but we can do something very similar, right? So we can move this linebacker over, move this linebacker here, right? Have him standing right there. And then boom, we'll hide the ball, and then sometimes that linebacker will come off the edge just like that. So that gives us the illusion of loop versus edge blitz when we move those linebackers around. And that's very key out of this defense 3-3 men, because we don't have to flip our defense first to get the alignment properly. The defense already comes out aligned pretty well. So that is an alternative if you want to call a defense where you don't have to base line out of. It is the 3-3 men. So I've gone over some of my favorite defenses here, things I like to use both online and in online Dynasty when I play the game. So if this is helpful for you, please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button. And if we get about, let's say 15 likes. If we get 15 likes on this video, what I'll do is I'll post a gameplay of how I'm playing defense in this game, and I'll post a gameplay of how I'm playing offense in this game. I will be dropping a guide here soon of how I'm playing offense as well. I think it's really fun, and it catches defenses off guard in this game. So if we hit 15 likes, I'll drop a game plan on my offense, and if we hit 15 likes, I'll drop a game plan on my defense. 15 likes for 2 game plans. I appreciate the love. I appreciate everyone watching and tuning in. You all take care.